You're welcome back. It's still the Breakfast Express, and this is the segment where you can call us or text us. And the number to do so is 0707 380 It is our discussion segment, and Okwe will be starting first.
We make a quick trip to Imo State, the home of His Excellency Governor Hope Uzodinma, the chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum, the APC governors, and the head of the Renewed Hope, ambassadors. There is a major security development out of Imo State this morning, and that is already generating significant conversation. The Imo State Police Command, following the order of the Inspector General of Police, IG Tunji Disu, has formally disbanded one of the most controversial tactical units, the Anti-Kidnapping Squad, popularly known as Tiger Base, along with other unit formations, the Scorpion Unit and the Lion Squad. In their place, a brand new outfit has been created, the Violent Crime Response Unit, or VCRU, tasked with going after violent crimes across the state. Now, Tiger Base in particular has been no stranger to controversies, with allegations of brutality and extrajudicial conduct trailing it for years. So the question this morning is this a genuine reset or simply putting old wine in new bottles? We'll be digging into that. Stay with us. The police disbanded its most controversial tactics squad in Imo State. So, it's a replica of what happened during the NSAS. The federal government outlawed the SAS unit, Special Anti-Robbery Squad, and then reabsorbed those officers into the General Police Unit and then reassigned them again to special task. The Tiger Base in Imo has been alleged with so much controversy that they abduct people, they trade people. If you commit a big crime, and then they'll go and bring someone that did maybe petty stealing and replace you with that person. So there's been allegation of killings and bodies being dumped in the rivers. Suspects, families will come and say, you arrested our brother last week. They'll say they cannot find the suspect again. And then they eventually go and see that they've withdrawn millions from the suspect's account. Where is the suspect? They cannot find the suspect. But money has been withdrawn from the suspect account. There are different times where youths are protested at these issues of the Tiger Base. And when you look at the way the officers are dressed, they look like people going after rogues. And they look like rogues themselves. Not properly dressed. Some of them are having dreadlocks, wear combat and boots, and then they are aggressive in their reaction and all of that. So this calls for question. Is this a tactically needed change, or is just a case of change the name, but the evil going on, the issues, the allegations still continues? What do you make of this?
Well, I would say it is putting new wine into old wineskin, except you take away those officers completely, take them out of the police force, out of the system, and then replace them with new ones. But whatever the case, I will call on the Inspector General of Police, Disu, to step up his game. They say to whom much is given, much is expected. A lot of people, including me, a lot of people are expecting so much from him because of his track record, and, just as people did with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So his track record has spoken for him. Now, they say the reward for hard work
Is more work.
is more work. So we're not expecting him to, deliver on the level or at the level that he did when he was here. We expect him to do a whole lot more, especially because this time he's looking at a broader, responsibility and the broader set of people. It's a whole country. Yeah, the entire 36 states and the FCT. So, we're expecting so much because, these men, this is not strange to me. I'm not just hearing this for the first time. I've heard it over and over and over and over and over again. And, if a focus is on them now, it means that, somebody up there is listening and it means that he intends to, to make it better, but not by changing the name. Because changing the name doesn't mean you've changed the people.
And they've changed the name of the Nigerian prison to Nigerian Correctional Facilities now. Are the prisons still not congested?
That's what we're saying. It's not about changing name, it's about changing the people. Because just as Okwe rightly said, when we're talking about people saying the president is not in, he's not in Kigali, and he said a friend of his said, that
Jibril was cloned.
President
Late
Buhari was cloned. That's the same kind of thing we want to talk about again now. Because except you change the entire man, you understand, or the entire woman, except you clone the person, it's still the same person. It's still the same person. So whether you give that person a different name, I have a lot of names, and sometimes I decide to use one instead of the other. So some people know me by a certain name in a certain circle, and like, for example, in my family, they would call me my native name, So if I hear that name, I know it's somebody who knows me from home very well, but it doesn't change who I am. It doesn't change who I am. So Nigerians need to understand that it's not about the name, it's about the people. Now, if these people, first of all, I would have expected that the Inspector General of Police would, first of all, come up with a list of names of the culprits, after investigation. Release that name, that list rather, to the public. Because this is what we're talking about. When there's a lot of what they call kurukere, there's too much secrecy. We won't feel free, But when the Inspector General of Police assumed office, we were all happy. And so these are the kind of things we expect. First of all, do an investigation, release a list of the names, so that people can see the names, first of all, even if you can't identify the people.
At least there are names attached to these people.
Yes, and then we know that these people are taken to be disciplined, taken totally out of, first of all, disciplined, and then taken out of the system, because what they are doing, they shouldn't be on the streets, really. So after that, we now expect a replacement, a fresh injection of officers who understand what they're supposed to be doing. Officers who know that they want to serve Nigeria conscientiously. They want to make a name in the Nigerian police force. They want to inscribe their names, in the sand of time, such that people will continue to make reference to them the same way I made reference to IPO Ayeni, recently. That's the kind of thing we want to hear and see. So it's not about the name. The question you asked me was, do I think it's like putting new wine into old wineskins? Yes, I feel like that. I feel so uncomfortable. I mean, if I was in that state, I probably would be still careful, because the people have not changed. And I have people who are close to me who have gone through this same thing that Okwe spoke about in the same state. So, and it's not pleasant. They went and they couldn't find their person. They said they didn't know what. Eventually, they found out that he was dead. Killed. He was killed, and nobody is accountable. Nobody feels, there's no remorse whatsoever, because, it's not now that they started. They've been doing it for a long time, and they've not been brought to book. And then now you will say you want to do a reform and you're just changing the name. No, it's IG, please. I mean, do this thing as you normally do your things. There's a standard. There's a standard that you've set, and we believe you would not go below that standard. So that's the kind of thing that we're expecting. We want you to carve a niche for yourself, at this level that you are. Carve a niche such that when you leave this position, people will see people crying on the day you're leaving, that, when this man
should have stayed longer.
You should have stayed longer. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's what I expect. Okay, I'm not excited. As a matter of fact, I'm not happy, because I know that it could have been done thoroughly and it could have been done in a much better way.
Well, I'm not the type that kicks against reforms, but those reforms must be done genuinely and they must be done from a place of wanting to really effect positive change. The story about the Tiger Base, how notorious they are, allegations of them being criminals themselves, going after Yahoo boys, collecting millions from them, seizing their cars, sometimes killing some of these suspects. I think so. If the IG decided to dissolve that unit, it is because they've had investigation and they've established
Yeah.
that they've done some very unpleasant, they've committed some unpleasant atrocities. So is it just going to dissolve the unit? Is it that nobody is going to be investigated or brought to books or charged to court? There are cases where people say, oh, their cousin, their relative came from the US and then there was a business gone bad. I was reading through my phone and I'm reading stories, different stories over the years. It didn't just start today, it didn't start a year ago. It's been there for so many years.
Okay, I think we have a caller on the line. Good morning.
Morning, madam. How are you today?
Very well, thank you. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Philip.
Okay, Philip, welcome to the show. You want to make a contribution? You want to ask questions? You want to make a comment? Please go ahead. Don't tell me we lost Philip. I think we have some network issues. Philip, can you please, try to call back? We'll be expecting your call. Okay, Okwe, sorry about that.
Yes, I'm just saying that if the IG had instructed that they should dissolve them, that means they've established facts. Would those officers be reassigned into other units, or would they be transferred, or would they still remain, or the new units that were set up now, the FGRU, are they still going to be the ones in charge? We're not saying the police should not do their jobs. What we are saying is that don't also do your job leaving gaps for doubt. You must be professional in your conduct. You must make sure that the innocent people don't suffer. And more than anything else, you must be able to allow the people to trust you as a law enforcement officer. So that people don't say, now those Tiger-based people, now money they define. Because that's what a lot of people are saying. I hope that this is just going beyond dissolving them. I hope that if there's a new unit that has been set up, the same set of people will not find themselves in the same unit and they will still continue the criminality they were doing in the former unit that has been dissolved. I think that's just what I have to say about that.
Yeah, and then one more thing, for the sake of the families whose relatives have, been killed, have been maimed, have been swapped, and so on and so forth. I think it will be a good thing for them to find closure. And the one way that they can find closure is if this thing is done properly. So that's the only way they can find closure. Let's put ourselves in their position. To lose one person is almost like losing yourself, because it depends on how dear that person is to you. My mother died 10 years ago. It'll be 10 years this year. And it feels so fresh in my memory, like
Every day.
sometimes I still want to pick up the phone and call her. Yep. So I don't know. I think we need to do this very well and do it to people's satisfaction. Like we always say, it should be all about the people. And I know that our Inspector General is a people's person. So let him do that which we expect that he should be doing. Okay, I think it's time for us to look at the second story. Okay, fraud. Court jails ex-minister Saleh Maman for 75 years. The Federal High Court in Abuja on Wednesday convicted and sentenced former Minister of Power Saleh Maman to a total of 75 years imprisonment in absentia over 33.8 billion naira money laundering offenses linked to the Zungeru and Mambila hydroelectric power projects. The trial judge, Justice James Omotosho, found Maman guilty on all 12 counts filed by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC), bordering on conspiracy and money laundering, and ordered that the sentences shall run consecutively, bringing the total term to 75 years. We talked about absentia. We also talked about consecutively. Well, what we mean is that absentia, the decision is taken behind the suspect. So the suspect is not present, but the court goes on with its proceedings and the judgment is given without the suspect being there. And the other word that we consecutively means back to back. Those terms, the number of years will be served back to back. Sometimes it could run concurrently, but this time it is running consecutively. So he's going to serve nothing less than 75 years, complete 75 years. And like I just simply put it, considering the man's age, we can just as well say life imprisonment. The man is not available now. Well, I wouldn't say he's on the run, but he's not been found yet. And as soon as he's found, he's going straight to serve his jail term. Good morning. Good morning. We have a caller on the line. Welcome to the Breakfast Show. What's your name?
My name is Peter Edosa.
Peter Edosa. Good morning.
Yes.
Yeah, you want to make a contribution?
Okay, my friend, good morning. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Mr. Peter.
Yes, I just have two observations to clear from the topic on ground. You see, the political unit you are talking about, okay? Between me and you, somebody in hierarchy that particular state will be offended by the political unit because he has a relationship with the IG. He will use that to make sure that political unit is dissolved. See, sometimes all of us are being deceived by newspaper. You can't blame newspaper, journalists and the rest. Sometimes what we see on the newspaper are going to be concluded by these top people who call themselves top politicians. Are going to fool those of us who are in the public. I want to just make this thing clear. There's some police station today where the DPO send out some people outside, police station officer work for them. This department, I need 100,000 from you. This department, I need 50, maybe 100 million from you.
They said daily target for them.
Begin to molest innocent citizens outside just because they want to raise money for what they have been directed to do. That's by the wayside. Now, can I shock you now? When Yaya Bello left office, the present EFCC person said, I will do everything possible with my capacity to make sure Yaya Bello is brought to book. Yaya Bello is working free today.
We talked about that.
Nobody talking about it today. Now look at Justice Clark. That was who came up to say Nigeria Army are being fed
poorly.
Nutritionists and on. Today is making 1 week or a month plus. Justice Clark is languishing in the custody of EFCC on the DSS office. So who is fooling who? Let them not deceive ourselves. This Nigeria, we have to pray. Except God himself has to begin to look at things around here. We are going to be talking and like this, and nothing will happen again. I just pray. I will pray that God will help us in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your contribution. I was not quite clear about what his point was. I tried to figure it out. I thought he was, coming up against what we said, but at the end of it, it's he aligned with what we were saying. So it is not that we don't know or we don't understand the gimmicks of certain politicians or certain highly placed people in society. And that's one of the things we always say on this program. We do understand these things. But you see, when we review the newspapers, we don't go outside, what they have put in there. We can't bring our own topics and put there. It is what we see in the papers that we analyze in the best possible way that we can. This Yaya Bello thing. We said it, was it today or yesterday?
We said it yesterday.
We talked about it yesterday. And so we understand the workings of certain powers, you know, that be. And it's one of the things we stand firmly against on this table, the breakfast table. We stand firmly against, you know, some of these underlying actions, you know, that lead to certain reactions. So, yeah, thank you for your contributions. The lines are still open. The number to call is 0707 3800959, or you can WhatsApp us on 0702 878 6830. We'll be expecting to hear from you. So, Okwe, you're still analyzing.
Yes. You know, when public trust is broken, it's difficult to fix. And the citizens will be the ones that would feel the impact of that failure. And I've always said it, whether elected public office holder or appointed public office holder, you are only accountable first to the people. That's why they call you public servant. That's why they call you public office holder. The office you are holding belongs to the public. You are just holding it in trust, and not necessarily because you are the best. Not exactly because you are the most qualified. In some cases, it's circumstances that got you that position. Perhaps you're just a political compensation or patronage for a job well done. Or it happens to be the slot from your state, and the chairman of the party from your state is your uncle or is your friend. And he's thinking, if I forward your name as a minister, you give me a contract when you get over there. So most times, when you get into political office, it's not a right for you to steal. And when you steal, that means you've broken public trust. And I will tell you for a fact, a typical Nigerian politician is a multi-millionaire. A senator in this country earns give and take 44 million every 3 months, apart from other bonuses and allowances that they get. A minister in this country has every, how do I put it now, every allowances that the constitution allows them to have, and even more. So, if you have the privilege to hold office as minister of power, you know, when Saleh Mahman was appointed, I remember very well there was a story that one of the newspapers we took today wrote about him. And when I went to check his proof, and I'm like, this has nothing to do with competence. This has nothing to do with knowledge of the job. We talked about the technicality involved in fixing the power problems in this country. We keep making reference to Adelabu, the immediate past minister of power minister of power. Nobody can.
No, was that a mistake? A genuine mistake?
I'm human. The VAR can check it.
Are we fighting up?
The VAR can check it. So it's a very clear situation. Nobody can deny the intelligence of Adelabu. Interesting guy, well-read, well-profiled, well-traveled, former deputy director at CBN. But the unit, the ministry they gave you, you cannot function in that capacity. And it dented your image. So when they brought in Saleh Mahman, and I went to look at his profile, and I said, do these people know how much we need to fix power in this country? I'll continue to say it. Rather than for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to embark on the Sokoto-Badagry Railway or to do the Calabar Coast Line, the best legacy project any leader can give to Nigerians is to fix the power issue.
To fix the power issue and make Nigerians secure in their own land.
See,
home is where the heart is.
Exactly.
Home
We'll not
is
be
where
seeing
the
all
heart
of this
is.
madness going on in South Africa. Nigerians being treated like dogs in a country where they are legitimately making their money. So when I saw this Saleh Mahman's case, I said, I pray that this case would get to see the end of it, and it's not one of those cases that will get lost in transit. So that's what they used to say. If the case becomes so long that even the person that is accused of it had died in the process. Now, Saleh Mahman was granted bail. He was supposed to appear in court. He failed to appear in court. The court adjourned again till December. He failed to appear in court. Then they adjourned again. I think there are 2 other adjournments until yesterday when the judgment was given by Justice Omotosho. He was still not in court. So he was sentenced in absentia. We've seen old men use their old age to go to jail.
Per Friday.
And per Friday is even very far. And we used to have one of the leaders of the opposition in this country, that by setup he was made the head of the Nigerian Port Authority, and he used his old age to go to jail, and which is quite unfortunate. So when you look at this mama now, 75 years, to start running from the time where he was arrested, and the sentence will run consecutively. Consecutively.
He's going to serve 75
That means
years.
It's not concurrent when they will say for each count charge is 12 years, each count charge will go, there is 12 years. Concurrently, that means for count 1, when you finish, you start count 2. But now he's missing, and the court says anywhere you find him, arrest him and take him to jail. So this, and I like the way Nigerians have received this news since yesterday. Nigerians seem excited about this, and then they start asking questions. When are we going to see Ifeanyi Okowa also get sentenced?
There's some sort of reassurance, you know, that perhaps all hope is not lost.
Because
even
that is
it's already looking like a hopeless situation.
That's why they said justice, the court is the last hope of the common man.
True.
That's what it
Very
meant.
true.
If a common man feels intimidated, oppressed, bullied, harassed, cheated, you are supposed to approach the court. But then when the court begins to place itself as the case of the highest bidder, if you don't have money, you cannot get justice. It kills every belief in that system. If you look at the 3 arms of government, the judiciary is the most important. Because the judiciary can give a judgment that they should end a life. The executive cannot. The legislative cannot. So when you give judgment like this, it is not easy to persecute.
Be careful with your words.
Yeah.
The executive and the legislator cannot legally,
Constitutionally, they cannot take life.
Be
constitutionally.
careful. Yeah, constitutionally.
Constitutionally. I understand where you're coming from.
Okay.
You know, and when we get to this point, and when people see things like this, that, oh, so someone that is this high profile can also be tried and jailed, and then they start asking questions. Do you know that there's a senator in this country that was sentenced to prison for stealing his people's money as a governor? And a few months into his sentence, the court cancelled that sentence and instructed that there should be a retrial. That the court that heard the case does not have the jurisdiction to hear the case. 6 years down the line, there's no retrial. He's still a serving senator. He's a leader of the political party in the state. He's a friend to the president. And we are still waiting for when the retrial would happen. In fact, he's a leader in the Nigerian Senate. And I'm talking about Orji Uzor Kalu, the former governor of Abia State. So when we see judgment like this, it restores the tiniest of hopes in the minds of the people that listen. So maybe not all hope is lost at the end of the day. Maybe if proper investigation is done, Yahaya Bello can also be freed or jailed. Ifeanyi Okowa can be freed or jailed. And I'm very specific about these two people. You know why? They have picked up the nomination form of this same APC to go to the Senate. The same Yahaya Bello that had a triumphant entry and came into EFCC custody as if he's the one that sold the land where the EFCC custody.
Honestly, if Yahaya Bello gets into the Senate, it's going to be very, very, very bad.
It's a disgrace to this country.
It's a disgrace, a big disgrace. And honestly, the media should continue to hammer on this. Yahaya Bello should not be in any leadership position.
No, fine.
He should not.
Until proven guilty, you are still innocent. We agree.
Yeah, but he has...
But the moral compass determines that for integrity, as long as you are under trial, on a normal day, if not for personality ground, he should be in detention. He should not be granted bail.
You see, sometimes EFCC, I mean, today it has been an EFCC thing. You know, EFCC will sing a song of hope at one instance, and the next instance, they are singing a song of woe. How can you change 360 degrees? 360 degrees. The Yorubas say that the bird cried today and the child died tomorrow. Who does not know it was the bird that killed the child?
By the child of tomorrow. I really hope that they find a way to get Salim Maman. He's not an alien.
No, getting him is not a problem. They will get him. People have absconded. Look at Kanu. They brought him back. Just a plate.
Carry him bag and head tie. They catch him.
You see, and that's the problem. Oh. Men have to start becoming wiser now. Each time it is through a woman. Even Kanu. That's the truth. If a whole Samson in the Bible
was brought down,
be careful. This woman thing, guys need to be careful, honestly, because they know how to bait a man. Is so easy, you know. Well, whether they bait him or they don't bait him, one thing is sure: he will surface somehow. He will come and serve his jail term. We will use him as examples to people who are walking that same path.
And I hope when he comes back to serve his jail term, he would not move into an opposition party and his sins will be forgiven. That's a concern.
That is a very heavy
matter. That is a concern.
That is a heavy... Okay, you just gave me something too heavy for my hands to carry.
That's a concern. Maybe after a year or two, the whole buzz around it dies down, then he sneaks into the country, and then he starts donating campaign offices or so and so to some politicians, and then they surround him with power
and they start singing his praise,
and they start singing his
praise, and he's everywhere on the papers and in the media.
Do you know that in this country, a convicted former pension commission boss was made the patron of the Nigerian Bar Association Abuja chapter? He was convicted for stealing money from Pencom.
I remember.
Months after, he was made the patron of the, I think, Gwagalada branch of Nigerian Bar Association. Lawyers carried a convicted criminal, not a suspect. Do you understand? He was convicted and he served his time. Then he came out, and then they made him the patron of the Gwagalada chapter of the Nigerian Bar Association. Isn't that a mockery of everything that we hold on to in terms of justice in this country?
And that's why the younger ones who come out from law school, they say they don't want to work. They don't want to. I'm serious. I'm serious. Well, that's the way we'll call it a wrap today on this edition of the Breakfast Express show. It's been my greatest pleasure being here with you, and we hope you enjoyed this package. We are going to do the same thing again tomorrow, so we'll just ask you to join us tomorrow. But before we go, we'd like to appeal. Please follow us on all our social media platforms. It's at MITV Plus on Facebook, MITV Plus _NG on Instagram, TikTok, and X. You can also watch our programs live on YouTube at MITV Plus _NG. Please remember to click the like and subscribe button. That's it on today's package. Okwe?
Yeah, we're prepared for the last edition of the show for the week tomorrow, God willing. But thank you so much for everyone that tuned in. Remember, the responsibility of fixing this country begins with you as a follower, and then learn to hold your leaders to account. My name is Okpeyemi. Okpeyemi Akin. Have a beautiful Thursday for yourself, and join us again tomorrow.
Well, my name is Tom Aderile. It's always a pleasure to be here, and I always say to people, you know, just stand in front of the mirror very quickly, look at yourself, look inwards, and if there's anything you need to change it very quickly so that the world will be a better place. Thank you for watching the program today. Have yourselves a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow by God's grace.